Well, hello, everybody. My name is Michelle Moras, and thank you for joining the ladies, the queens of Hold My Crown. Women of Grit share stories of resilience. And if you were here at the 1 o'clock Mountain Time call, you met several of our authors. And now, here at the 4 o'clock Mountain Time, you're meeting some of the other speakers and authors that are in the book. Well, if you don't know what Hold My Crown is about, Women of Grit, I think our subtitle kind of says it, but Women of Grit share stories of resilience. We're all here together because we all met. And I had this crazy vision a couple of years ago that I kind of tabled. And what was that 2019? Yeah, no, was it 2019? I think it was 2019. I was at a boot camp, and the gentleman that was running the boot camp said, Michelle, why don't you have an offer? And I said, well, I can't do this and I can't do that because people are already doing this. And he said, well, throw an offer out. And I went up on stage and I said, I'm going to do a writer's retreat. Who would like to come to my cabin and do a writer's retreat? And a whole bunch of people started throwing credit cards at me, say, I want in. I want to go to the writer's retreat. We went to a writer's retreat. And in that retreat at the cabin, we were sharing stories to get on stage and share these stories. And what we found was that our stories were interlocking and that all of our stories were different, but they were all having the same wave of who are we, and getting lost in who we thought we were supposed to be, and being put in boxes that we sometimes stepped into on our own, but we thought that's the way we were supposed to be. We're going to be good girls. We're going to be a good girl, we were going to be good wives. We're going to be what the world wanted us to be. And it wasn't until we went through some sort of a trial, and if you read the book, and when you read the book, you'll realize each of us went to different trials. We realized, wait a minute, in order for me to get out of this, I have to own me. I have to take responsibility of me. And every one of the 12 authors in this book have shared a personal story, heart-wrenching often, that shows where we came from, the darkness we came through, and the light that we shine now. Now, what I want you to know about every one of these women is, yes, we've gone through some amazingly crazy things. And when you read the book, you're going to do, oh my goodness gracious. Notice that we're all here, we're all smiling, and we've all come through. And that's what this book is about, to let you know that you will come through whatever you've come through. And if you are in the middle of something, know that there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Don't give up on you. Put on that crown and be you. Or in our cases, in our cases, we found people that would support us and say, you know what? I believe in you. Maybe one person may have been a tribe, but someone in our world helped us. Even if we saw it in a book, we saw it in a movie, we saw it through someone else talking, or someone on a post on a Facebook, whatever it was, we saw a light through someone else, and we came back to ourselves and became a better version of ourselves. What we do here in this book is we want to let you know that by sharing our stories, you have a story, and one day maybe you can share it with the world, so that just like us, our story, your story, can help someone else through their darkness. Now, if you haven't done so already, many of you have, thank you so much. Go to Amazon and look up Hold My Crown. Hold My Crown will bring up a whole bunch of crowns, okay? But Hold My Crown. And if you don't get the book, say Women of Grit, and the book pops up. Worst comes to worst, put Hold My Crown Moras. I'm the only Moras. Really? You will find the book. And then get the Kindle. And if you're in Colorado, we would love you to come down to Colorado Springs on the 23rd of October. That's this Saturday from 1 to 4 p.m. at 3 E's Comedy Club in downtown Colorado Springs. And if you want to know more about that, write any of us. We're all here on this thing, and we're going to be tagged. So you can say, hey, where is that event? I want to be there. I want a signed copy of the physical book. And I have the physical books, by the way. But because we are a tribe of women, queens, I refuse to open that box until we're all together. and we will take a picture with all of us opening that one box and pulling out one book, and we're all going to hold the first book, and we're all going to hold our own book, and we'll take pictures, and we will put it all over Facebook, so you will all see us holding our very first copy of Hold My Crown. Now, with all that being said, I'd like to introduce you to each of the authors as we go. And the first author I'd like to introduce is a woman I met in Toastmasters years ago. And what attracted her to me is she's a Spitfire. She is a party in a shot glass. And I'm usually the smallest, shortest person in the room. And I walked past her and went, I'm taller than you. And we hit it off because we're both really hyper, and we're both very focused, and we love to speak, and we love to inspire, and we love to uplift other people. And so when I met Colette, I thought, wow, what a powerhouse. And when we started doing the speaking thing, I would do, Colette, come with me. I'm going to go speak here. Oh, Colette, come with me. We're going to go speak here. And she'd do, are you really? Are you sure? What am I supposed to do? I do, share this story, do this, come on, let's just do it. And she'd do, okay. So when it came to the book time, I said, Colette, I want you to write a story in my book. And she went, really? And I said, yeah. She says, okay. It took you what, 3 seconds? So please, Colette, if you can share with the audience, 1, why you felt to join the book. 2, why did you share the story you did share in the book? And 3, what impact would you like to see come from the book? Okay. And the book and your story in the book.
Well, first of all, the reason that I leapt when Michelle said, join me, is because what else do you do when Michelle Mraz says, I have an idea, you must come, you go, you leap. And after thinking about it for 3 seconds, like Michelle said, I decided that the stories are important because this is how we learn and grow, how we help one another, how we support one another. And I'm chapter 3 in the book. And the story that I shared was really the story of growing up and all the trials and tribulations that happen. And my relationship with my alcoholic, drug addicted father, how that impacted me, along with other things, and coming full circle to adulthood and how that impacts the relationships that you have. We all kind of have to survive childhood. And I think that it's an important story to share so that other people have hope. And the legacy I hope to leave is that when people read not just my story, but each of your stories, that they realize that overcoming is your superpower. Charging forward, and those experiences really make you who you are today. They make you unique and individual, and they give you the tools and the skills that you need to live your life like the queen you are and hold the other crowns around you. And that's why.
Excellent. Yes. I mean, we do all have to survive childhood. We all did, right? Woohoo! All of us win. We all won already. And that's what the beauty of this book is. If you were on the 1 o'clock call, Mountain Time, you heard that we all had interlocking stories from different stages of our lives, from childhood all the way through our adulthoods, and actually kind of futuristic of what's still coming. And what I wanted with this book, and I was so excited that Colette said yes, was because her story, when you read it, you will not understand how is she this smiling human right now? How is she in this happy relationship with her wonderful husband, very crafty, very artsy man. He won't say that, but I have this wonderful sculpture on my table that he made for my husband. And it's a shark, and it's wood, and it's gorgeous. And yes, I had to call him out. But when you read these stories, I want you to realize that although we've come through dark times, we are the queens we are because we stepped into who we are. We are the best versions of ourselves, which means we are improving daily. And we're unapologetic on the things that we've gone through and the things that we face. And keep that in your mind while you're reading the book, because it will make you definitely look at your life differently and realize that you are far stronger than you give yourself credit to. So, Colette, thank you so much. Yes, thank you so much for helping us out with that, beginning us. And our next author I want to bring up is my friend Amy, but I have to give her some introduction first, because a lot of people don't see Amy in my world often because she left me and went to the East Coast. Um, But Amy and I met years ago, again in Toastmasters, and I used to see her, and she was always so girly. I kind of went, oh, she won every contest, every speaking contest. And I just thought there was no way I was ever going to be in her circle, that she was such a great speaker. I couldn't do that. I wasn't a speaker like that. And I never would compete, because I'm like, I'm not going to get up to that top there and have to go up against Amy. There's just no way. I wasn't going to do it. And I met Amy at a contest, and I was one of the judges, and she blew them away. I mean, she blew that room away. And I had to say something to her. So when she walked past me, I said, Amy, wow, that was phenomenal. And she says, well, thank you so much. I see you all the time. You want to go get some wine? I mean, it was that quick. And we started meeting for wine. And one day she invited me to her rustic cabin. And then, oh, I've got to tell this bit, because you see this smiling lady right here? I'm driving to this remote town that I've never heard of in Colorado. And she's telling me about how remote it is. And she's telling me my boots were too fancy. I'm not going to be able to make it down her driveway, because if there's snow, I'm going to have to hike in a mile. And so she's painted this picture of horror to me. And before I lost signal, I wrote my husband and said, I'm taking pictures along the way. If this psycho killer takes me away, you'll know where I am. And I get to this cabin that she called rustic. I'm expecting a one room, no watered place. It was bigger than my house in Colorado. Great. And I'm thinking, what is rustic about this place? And she says, see, look, there's a dead mouse. See, it's rustic. And at that point, we just kind of clicked so strongly. And we started talking so deep about our lives and our past and what we wanted in the future. And we both wanted the same thing. So here was this woman that I thought was completely out of my reach. Mm-hmm. And we were the same when I gave her the chance to let me see her. I let her see me, and I realized we were meant to be together. She stuck with me forever. So when this book came up, I said, Amy, I want you in the book. I know you have your own 2 books, but I want you in this book. And she said, for you? Sure. So on that note, I'd like you to please meet my friend, the Pink Lady, Miss Amy Hamilton.
Michelle, thank you for that very, very, very talk. I'm not at my usual broadcast place right now. I'm actually broadcasting, so it's clear for everyone. A little bit interesting, actually. And that's the thing, though, is we're women, we wear our crown, whatever the situation is, we're gonna make the best, right? And we are so lucky. Lives. And I one of the things about the book that I read, big teeth.
It's cutting you out. Slow down.
Okay, I will try to go slower.
It's just
so no. Yes. No.
Little bits.
Okay, Michelle, we're just gonna pass.
Ah,
Did our best. Oh no.
Well, see, and then she's clear again.
We'll try it a little. How's that? Is that better?
Yes.
yes.
Okay. Right at this exact space, I will not my phone. But basically, one of the things about this book is that everyone's lives are intertwined, and it's so often we're looking for the right person, but it really is the right people. And if you look around beautiful women, you realize we're all interconnected, and people come in and out of our lives. That I was there in Colorado with her for a long time, Then I actually went to Germany. Back I'm on the East Coast, greater DC area, right in Arlington, Virginia. And what we've really just discovered is whether you're a man, whether you're a woman, we're all people at heart. Just need us. We all go through bad days. And if you just look out there in the universe and you just realize you are having a bad day, when somebody cuts you off, when you're really frustrated, just realize that person, look at beautiful women, that's someone's sister, that's someone's wife, that's someone's daughter. Some guy who cuts you off, that's someone's husband, someone's father. And, and even that, like we're gender labeling, that's someone's, and just care about those people and love them unconditionally. And if you throw out that unconditional love, it will come back to you.
Amy, unconditional love, no labels. We got like every fourth word. But see, what happened is she is in a building where all of her signals are being cut off so that we get we're getting any bit of her subject or any bit of the words she's saying. I'm rather impressed. But this is a good example of we're holding her crown. Because the thing with Amy is, yes, holding your crown. Amy, I'm so sorry we can't hear you. We will have another book launch in March and you'll be able to hear her again because she won't be at work and she'll be at her regular place where she can actually have signal and you can hear more from her. Maybe we'll pop in the next month and let you have an update on the book and let you all know that, an update on how the book is doing and what we're doing next. And Amy will be home where she has internet. Bye, Amy. I miss you. Now, what's beautiful about Amy is that her story, when you meet her and when you read her story, this is a powerhouse woman, just like all of the other women. But when you look at her, it's like, wow, 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 wow. And you hear about her story and the things she's gone through. And it's like, this woman has come through hell and high water in a world where women are usually very subdued, very in the military world. And she's a rock house. She's a brick house in pink. So I can't wait for you to actually meet her. And maybe next month we'll do another book author call and we'll just put it up and have as many people on as possible so that you can meet more of the authors because you really want to hear Amy and her story. She does have 2 other books and she does business books from a storytelling perspective. So she has characters that represent different things, and then she has them interact in business scenarios. So that's how her books are written. They're really cool. And she's got a lot of great backers and things like that from people she's worked with in the past. When you hear more about Amy, it's really impressive who she knows and the people she works with. And when we do our book launch out in the East Coast in the DC area, you're probably going to meet a lot of them. And that's really exciting. So now that I've just gushed on Amy because she's gone, our next author I'd like to introduce is my friend Janet. I met her at a conference and she and I, we hit it off really quickly. And I loved her. And when I was speaking on stage, I kept looking over at her and I don't know why. It's that energy thing. And so when we had a break, I came over to her and she starts talking to me and we knew something was going to happen. We were going to do something together. And we started authentic conversations together. So we've been working in the background. No, you probably have not seen much of it. We've done a couple of Facebook Lives, but we have a program that is coming out early next year. And it's the 2 of us called Authentic Conversations. And Janet, I'm going to introduce you this way because I want you to share why you brought your story in, why you felt the need to even join this book. And the future of how the impact of your story and how you see your story working with this conglomeration, this algorithm of women coming together. Because Janet had a story that I wanted in because she captured a part of our lives that affects all of us. And she's like, well, you guys have this, you have this, I have a really good life. Well, and then she told me this little bit and I'm like, oh, come on, lady. This is the story we all need. So, Janet, welcome to the stage. I'd love for you to share a little bit about why you're in the book, why you chose that story, and the future of what you bring with that story for the people that you will be assisting in the future.
Wow, you are always so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Michelle. And thank you to my fellow authors. I'm so happy to be among one of the 12, right? I mean, it's such a great number, the master number 12, and we're all here together working on this Hold My Crown. Yeah, Michelle and I have a synchronicity that I'm loving, and Authentic Conversations is fun. And so tune in whenever we pop up Facebook Live. Next year we'll get more regular, but we're popping up and playing with it because it's important to talk about the things that are important. And when she asked me to be in this book, the consistent story throughout my life is kind of the story. It's the journey of me and my body, me and my love-hate relationship with my body, my love-hate relationship with food, my love-hate relationship with what I look like if I'm in this outfit or that outfit, or where I'm going or how I'm going to be seen, or, just the exhausting things that happen when you continually tell yourself you're not the right size, you're not the right look, you're not the right age, or whatever it is. But it comes down to this journey, this odyssey we take our life, this fabled journey of our life that we live through this body that unfortunately most of us have a love-hate relationship with. And I'm at the stage of life where I've been up, I've been down, I've been fat, I've been slim, I've been healthy, I've been unhealthy. Hey, haven't we all? But the story, the way we look at it, the way we think about it, the way we feel about ourselves, this one thing impacts everything. It impacts what we think we can do. If I think I'm too fat, I might not try for the job. I might not, respond to someone who reaches out for a relationship. I might not build a friendship with someone who could be an awesome opportunity for me and them because I don't think that I look or feel or behave in this body the way somebody. Who is that somebody? Who is this Madison Avenue? If you do this or you do that, you're going to look right. I'm not tall. I'm not thin. I'm not blonde. And I've never been any of those things. I have been thin, but I've never been tall. And that's not going to happen. Right. So, and, I think about my daughters didn't like Barbie dolls. So I was always kind of proud of them because they looked at themselves. I remember my one daughter said to me, "I'm never going to be tall, Mom. It's not going to happen." So she had a little bit better sense. But I'm looking at this as generational. This story of our body, this odyssey we take in our life that we do not let ourselves enjoy and be pleased with and be proud of and be joyful. And, when I have little granddaughters, and the one is almost 3 years old, when she sees me, she never sees what size I am. She sees Nana. And when I show up at their door, she squeals and runs across the room and gives me a hug. I'll bet you that she couldn't tell you whether I'm tall or short, fat or skinny. I'm just Nana. And she reminds me that the essence of my being is what's important. And that's what I want to share. Working with clients, working with myself, knowing my friends, my family. Let's find a way to start allowing ourselves to be absolutely joyful and satisfied in the body that we live in. Because when we are, health comes. It's a natural outpouring. So much of our illness comes from our dissatisfaction with just the fact that this is the flesh we're in, right? So that's got me going. You can see I have no passion about it at all. And what's interesting is that when I started the story, I was quite a bit slimmer than I am now. And I've been a size 6, I've been a size 16. And what I found out is that I had the same emotional feelings about myself at all those sizes. I wasn't happy when I was size 6. I thought I should be maybe a little slimmer, or maybe put a little more on. And when I was bigger, I thought I should be less. And I wouldn't buy clothes because I'm going to wait until I can fit into it. If you've ever been somebody who waited until I'm going to buy that dress for my daughter's wedding, or I'm going to go to a class reunion, but the dress I want or the outfit I want, 5 more pounds. And then, of course, you may or may not have gotten it. I remember one of my sisters getting ready for her daughter's wedding, And she got to the weight she wanted, and she looked spectacular. I mean, spectacular. And she said to me a few years later, she goes, that dress and I will never see each other again. We all have that story. It's in our closet. It's
we
waiting
have that
for
story,
us, right?
and if you go to the reviews on Amazon, there are men who are relating to that too. So this is not
Good.
just about women. This is about men too, and that's why I wanted you to share that bit, and that's why I was so enthralled of you bringing that story into our book, because it's something we don't like talking about. And
No, we always think we're one lettuce leaf away from not having to have that conversation.
Yes. And then my thought was, I've been 380 pounds and I've been 150 pounds. And in every weight level, I wanted something else.
Me
And that's
too.
when I realized I must love me. For me to love me, I will be able to pour into other people far better than me wondering if they're going to think I'm fat on stage. And if they think I'm fat on stage, or they think I look funny on stage, what's really funny is I did drop all that weight through my cancer journey. I got on stage and someone said, you're too skinny.
Always, isn't it?
So the
Isn't
thing that
always?
happened
I tell
was
you what.
I was afraid to go on stage because I thought I was going to I would look funny in my clothes on stage because, camera adds pounds on you. Then I got on stage and they say, oh, you're too thin. And I'm like, thank you, universe, for letting me realize that no one will ever think I'm right. And if I can't accept me, then how am I ever going to expect anyone else to accept me? So that's why Janet's story is so important for all of us. And that's why I wanted that key line story inside of the middle of the book, because I wanted you to see everyone go through what they're going through. Then Janet's story to make you realize, wait a minute, we are all, because we tell stories and it's like, oh, that never happened. Oh, that's horrible. Oh, yeah, that's horrible. I've never, oh, wait, I know that one. Because everyone can relate to Janet's story.
Yeah, we've all looked in the mirror and had a story to tell ourselves, right?
Exactly.
What I wish for all of us is to have an Allura that runs up to us and loves us no matter what. And that should be us to ourselves.
Well, and actually to get onto that is, I used to always look in the mirror and complain.
Oh,
and
yeah.
my husband looked at me and he has, what's wrong? I said, how can you love this? How can you love this? And he says, why did you marry me? I said, well, because I love you. He says, why? I said, because you're smart, you're sharp. I respect everything you do. And I respect you. I love you because of the man you are. And he said, so do you think I'm stupid? And I said, no. He is, do you think I have no common sense? I said, no, just polar opposite. He is, then I love you and I think you're beautiful. So why am I wrong on this?
See?
And it was like, oh my goodness. Oh,
and that is a true story.
Yay! We love you, Michael.
And it made me realize the people who love us love us.
That's right.
And if we can't believe it when we look in the mirror, we have to step into their shoes and see us from their point of view. If we have to borrow their belief in us until we believe in us, then that's the key. Until you can believe in yourself, borrow someone else's belief, and now you soar. I soar because this man has never let me go. Who in your life has never let you go? Janet's got an Allura. So think of that when you look in the mirror and start criticizing yourself. Now, the next person I want to bring on is, yes, okay. The next person I want to bring on, I met during COVID. Never met her in person in my entire life. And I met her on a Zoom call, and there was just this energy about her, this passion about her. And hearing her story and knowing that she has come through at such a young age. Okay, I'm going to call that out. You're very young compared to a lot of us. And
I don't know about that.
Yes, you are. And so my thought process was, she has a lot of belief, but there's something in her that she needed out. And I felt compelled to be with her so she would believe in herself bigger. Because a lot of people I've met, oh my gosh, oh my goodness, the potential of them is just catastrophically amazing. And it was her. And I went, I need to bring her with me in my tribe because I have a book in my head and I'd love to have her in it. I don't know what story it is because she already has her own story. What other story does she have? Because there's something else in her. And she sent me her book, and I read her book, and she and I aligned up so much through our entire lives. I'm like 20, 30 years older than her, but we had gone through the same things as teens. We had gone through the same things as young adults. And then we both got into bodybuilding to find who we really are, to find our strength, to prove that we are strong. And then something else happened, and we moved on to our childbearing years and things like that. We had so much synchronicity, and I'm like, Erin needs to be in my world. I don't know why we came together and what we're supposed to do together, but she has to be in my world. And I brought her into my world. Never met her until July when we went to the Ultimate Speaker Boot Camp. They said, as a competitor, you have 2 guest passes. And I said, well, I already know somebody. And they said, okay, bring 'em. And I wrote this person I've only met online and said, you want to go to Florida with me? I've got a ticket. You're paid for. And she said, I'm in. So please welcome my mentee, the one who just needs a little bit of a push so she would soar farther than she was already soaring. I'm saying this woman's a rocket ship. You need to keep track of her. Please welcome Erin Bear. And if you'd like, again, to share why the book, why the story you shared, and the impact you'd like to have at the end.
I think you are incredible. I think I tell you this every day, and I say the same thing every time I say that you're incredible. She's right. She reached through the Zoom. I don't know how she did it, and like grabbed my hand and brought me through the Zoom when I met her for the first time last year. And she has believed in me since day one. Like the moment I opened my mouth and the moment she opened her mouth, we just instantly connected. I don't know what it was, but now I know why the universe brought us together. I think I'm still learning, but she pushes you, not down, but pushes you up and uplifts us and makes us soar above the cliffs that we are flying so low below. And I just think she's incredible. So when she asked if I wanted to go to Florida, I said, absolutely. There was no hesitation. I told my husband, hey, I'm going to Florida. He's like, what? I'm like, yep, bye. there was no fighting.
Stranger.
Yep. I didn't really tell him that I hadn't met you in person yet. I just said, hey, my mentor, Michelle, I'm going to Florida with her. Bye. And then he realized I hadn't met you in person yet. So that was pretty funny. And then when she brought this book up, she actually brought the book up before Florida. I was totally in. And probably one of the best decisions of my life. Every decision I've made since Michelle has been one of the best decisions of my life because she pushes you up to say yes. She doesn't allow you to say no. And she allows you to see the opportunity in front of you, to see how you can grow. And even if you're like, are you sure? She's like, here, put my glasses on because you're not seeing what I'm seeing. She makes you look through the lenses of her own eyes and her own heart and her own soul. And it's a pretty incredible experience. So the reason why I jumped on board with Hold My Crown is because she's like, hey, you already have a book, but I don't want you to tell that story. I want you to tell the story you left your book off with, because there was another story that I was going through, which is the story of infertility. And I've already lost one pregnancy, and that is in my first book, but I just experienced a second loss where I almost died if I didn't have life-saving emergency surgery. And Michelle's like, I know it's painful and I know it's still happening. And I know you're going through all of the difficulties, but this, as you know, is the way you're going to heal. And you're going to be able to touch so many lives through the story of infertility and how it's not just going to a store and saying, hey, I like that baby on the top shelf to the left, on the third shelf to the right. It's not that simple of, having a family. And as a woman, we believe that our worth is as great as what we can produce for the world, whether that's a child or to be a good wife or to be a good daughter. We think our worth is tied to that. And that is in fact not the case. And so Michelle said, I want you to tell that story. I want you to tell the story of the loss that you've endured and the emotions behind being a woman and trying to validate your worth when your worth is already validated for being the person you are today. And I think that's so incredible that she's given so many of us, and I won't say who, but so many of us the opportunity to validate our worth with ourselves through our stories and our words and our pain. And I was able to find comfort in that. And I'm still going through my infertility journey. It's not complete. I don't know what the end of the road looks like. I don't know if there's an end. I don't know. But I really wanted to be a part of this book because so many women are 1 in 4 and 1 in 8, but we don't talk about that one. we don't talk about that one person, and I'm that one person, and some other women are that one person, and they need to know that they're not alone, and that we have so many incredible pains that we experience separately, but we can link together and find hope amongst all that. And so I just think it's incredible that Michelle picked the people she picked, because the stories link to each other throughout the book. That's the most incredible thing, I think, because she starts with, one person, and it links to the next and the next and the next and the next. And my hope for this book, like I said at 1:00 earlier today, is that this becomes the change that women need to have as they grow up. So as young girls, we need to understand that we're our own heroes and that there is no fairy tale. We create the fairy tale that we want. And as we grow older, we understand that we're enough, and that women are to collaborate and to connect, not to separate and compete. And I think that's the biggest thing that Michelle has done for us, is to really create this tribe of women and understand that we are holding each other's crowns when we can't hold our own. And the crown is such a metaphor for so many different things. It's our heart, our soul, our hope, our fears, our love, our passions, our compassions, our feelings, all the emotions. Our crown's not just a crown that sits on our head, but it's our being as a woman. And for the men, and I think that's just an incredible thing. Hold My Crown is so much more than just a crown on our head. It's a crown within our hearts and our souls. So thank you, Michelle. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Erin. And the other thing about Erin's story is you see the journey of their infertility journey also through her husband's eyes. And so I felt that was a very important way of sharing this story, because I've met many people who have gone through the same journey Erin's in right now. And part of me is like, oh, it's so painful. It would be so painful for her to share this. But the other part of me was, how raw that pain is makes her more relatable to the people who are going through it or who've gone through it and are still hurting from it. When I lost one of my children with my second child, and I hated myself for years because I failed to carry two of the children. And it was a shameful thing. And when people would ask me, especially at the hospital, how many pregnancies have you had? And I would always hesitate. I'm at the doctor's, okay? And I would hesitate. And so I'm like, Erin's story has to come out, because even someone like enlightened Michelle, who has all these sayings and she knows who she is, it still hurt. And I wanted Erin to share this story so that those of us who hush hush have lost children and just act like it never happened, and on those days and those weeks and those months when we have our own personal funerals in our heads, every year I go through the same mourning period, and no one understands when I shut down and I go away. It's because I'm mourning that one child I lost. Erin was on two. And I'm like, Erin, you've got to share this, because not only is it therapy for you, but in a selfish way, it was therapy for me. And so Erin shares a very personal story that she's still in, just like I share my cancer story that I'm still in. But Erin sharing that story gave me the bravery to share that I also had that story. And then when I saw her story go up and people were reading and, putting reviews up, people were writing on the back end doing, I'm so glad that was shared, because I'm still hurting. And it's been 20 something years. Yes, Erin, your story will save relationships. I mean, most people, they lose their relationship when these kind of things happen. And that's why I wanted your story, because you share your point of view from your husband too, knowing that it's actually making you really tight because you're going through so much, and it's actually making you work harder at your relationship to bring you together instead of ripping you apart.
That is very
That
true.
is
My husband hasn't mourned until he thought I had mourned. So he let me, that's the biggest thing, is that he actually read the chapter as we were doing our editing. He would listen to it.
Yeah.
And I stopped because I had to go do some other stuff. And he's like, did you finish it? I'm like, well, yeah. And he's like, well, can you print it so I can read it? And he said it was one of the most beautiful things he'd ever read. And it's helping him now finally, after a year and a half, mourn, because he had to be strong for me. And he had to give me the space and the time and, hold it together. And I think that's the biggest thing with infertility is men think they have to hold it together for us women, when in fact we want them to break with us.
Yes. That's why your story is in that book. That's why I didn't want you to share the beat and the badass story. It's your story, but this is a story that you're in that you can help more. You're helping them already. You helped your husband first. Okay. So that's just the impact of this book. We have 12 powerful stories from 12 completely different women from completely different backgrounds, and we're all linking. I mean, if you hear our stories, we started talking to each other and it's like, I have that same kind of story. Oh, that happened to me. And we were all like, whoa, I would have never thought that from you. I encourage you to go to Amazon, find our Kindle, read the book, leave a review. Let us know how it touched you, because this is more than a book. This is a momentum that we are building. We are gathering more stories. We are going to have more people in the next series. This is not one book, it's a series. Okay. You will hear more. And when I met this other wonderful author lady speaker, I met her also at a conference, and I clicked with her the same way. She's got that same personality with me, where we're both always smiling at the same time, and we're like, "Oh, everything's going to hell in a handbasket. That's okay. Something good will happen out of it." And I'm like, "Okay, what have you gone through in your life that you have that same mentality?" Usually when people have gone through and made it through, we have this silly grin on our faces, because what we think is, okay, I've been through worse. I can make it through something else. And so when I met Sally, I knew there was a story under her that smile was hiding, and I wanted to know that story. So Sally was actually one of the original women who came to the cabin with me for that writer's retreat. It was her and another lady that said, "Why aren't we putting this in a book?" And they started coming with all these really crazy, wonderful names. And I honestly, Sally, I really think you're the one who came up with that concept of a crown. I really know it wasn't you, but it came through. We were all sitting watching the fireplace, and we went, "Yeah, we have to put this in the book first." And Sally's like, "Michelle, we got to do this. Make it happen. You can make it happen." And I'm like, "Okay, you want in?" She's like, "Yes, I want in. Of course I want in." So please welcome Sally, my cheerleader from the cabin, when I'm sitting there crying like a baby because I've opened doors in my heart that I didn't realize I had closed. Sally Ware.
Thank you for that. You know what? I think we have that energy level, right? And I'm trying to. I was really hyper in the earlier 1 o'clock, so I'm trying to be calmer now. Though calm for me is way above most. I want to be a part of this book, and I am. My heart is just glowing right now because of listening to the stories and being online with everybody and finally getting to know everybody a little bit deeper, and just the stories alone. But Michelle, you pulled us all together. It was, yes, were we all talking about the different options and putting a book together and everything, but it takes someone to be the leader or the head queen, so to speak, to draw this out of us, right? And one of the things I love working with you the most is that I can brainstorm with you, and I come up with an idea, or you come up with an idea, that we each add pieces to it, and all of a sudden we've blown up into this huge multi-level book. I mean, we've got stories galore, and yes, I've been around long enough that I've learned that my stories are tools that I have in my toolbox, right? And I love to talk about tools in the toolbox. They're things that I was either born with, or I learned along the way because they either happened to me personally or happened to people around me. For example, the stories of the women in this book. We are all learning from each other, but we all have the courage to step forward and not only put it in writing, put it in print for the world to see, but now we're taking it on the live Facebook stage. We're taking it to stages around the world so that other people don't feel like they're on an island by themselves and that they're the only one that's ever gone through this. I listened to Erin and her infertility and Heather and the issues that she went through and all these other stories. Mine wasn't infertility. Mine was having a NICU baby and all the things that went up to having a baby that's in the neonatal intensive care unit, going home after having a baby and not having the baby with you. Those are not easy things to talk about. But it's the story I share in my chapters, chapter 6. It's called Sally. And really and truly, what Hold My Crown is really all about is that we have this human capacity to survive and thrive no matter what storm we come through. People have nicknamed me the Storm Whisperer because I'm always talking about these storms in life and embracing that journey, right? We are not defined by what is happening to us or with us or around us. We're defined by how we react to that. And each one of us, not only us 12 women, but the men and women of the world, we have all got our journeys. I can't walk in your shoes. You can't walk in mine. But please, would you listen? And would you take heed of what we are saying and what we are sharing? Because we're just a little microcosm of the world. And in this case, our world, us women with our crowns. But I just think that the impact that this book has and the impact that we all have, not only with each other as a group as we come together, but as we go out into our communities and share. I had a neighbor drop by this afternoon and he says, "You're glowing. Why are you glowing?" I said, "Well, it's about this live Facebook. Our book is launching and the Kindle's available today." And he got out his phone and he downloaded his Kindle app back to his phone and he bought the book, right? Which is like, yes. I said, "Now read the book and leave us a review, please. Leave us a review." And he was more than happy to do that. But he understood that this last couple of years has been tough on everybody. And some of us have even worse stories because it was even worse than our we could ever imagine. But we're still smiling because we still survived it. We're here, we're living. And as long as we're here living, we need to give it the best that we can. So thank you for allowing me on this journey.
Oh, I'm so glad you all trusted me to jump off that cliff and start flapping as fast as we could. Well, because it's all, what's that quote? I love the Maya Angelou quote, and you reminded me of her. My mission in life is not merely to survive. It's to thrive and to do so with some passion, some compassion, some humor, and some style. And that is really the encompassment of this entire book.
It is truly.
We got through and it's like, okay, I'm putting my crown on. Let's move. And that's really what the essence of this book is. It's 12 stories because I'm a storyteller. Okay. That's what I do for a living. I craft other people's stories so they can be concise and expand it to hours long for conferences or short for little commercials, whatever it is. But whatever their mission is, I craft words. And when I heard all of these different women from different platforms and different places, I met them. I went, we have got to put you all together. And we're going to be like a gigantic snowball. I said that at the 1:00 call, a snowball that's just going to start gathering momentum and gathering more people, where this is going to be, how the chicken soup for the soul, it's Hold My Crown. And it's just going to be Hold My Crown 1, Hold My Crown 2 for men. Whatever. It's just going to keep growing because the power in story. And I think that's what happened in COVID. It was an experience where no one had a real grasp on how to get through it because we didn't know how to relate it to anything. None of us were here for a plague, so we didn't know how to relate. So people lost their minds. People got scared. People shut down. People hid. And some people went crazy and were like, hey, we only live once. I'm going to go out here and do this. So everyone acted differently. But that's what we do under stress. And so when you read these stories, you will see glimpses of when we lost it, when we gained it, when we lost it again, weight-wise and mentality-wise. And what it is, it's a storytelling where we can all learn from each other's lessons. That's the big part of it. I want each of you out there who purchase the Kindle, and if you come to the live book launch on Saturday the 23rd from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. at 3 East Comedy Club on this Saturday, what you'll see is that we are storytellers. We all have interlocking stories. We've all survived. And we have many, many more stories. And if you can relate to any of our stories that we've shared, I want you to tell us. I want you to share with us. Because one of the things when you put out a book in the world that's this close to our hearts, that we opened our hearts open and said, world, this is something I have not shared with the world. Here. We need to know that that impact is out there, that we have touched a life. Because as any storyteller will tell you, if I can just reach one person, if I can save the pain from just one person, then everything that I've gone through will be worth it. You may be that one person for one of us in this book. Maybe we were that one person for you. And it's good to share those sorts of experiences and knowledge so that we can all grow together as a human race, to realize we aren't alone in the world. We aren't the only ones that are suffering, and we're not the only ones in the dark. We were in the dark. We found our way out. Some of us are still in the dark and still climbing for the light. So be that light for someone else in your world. If you read the stories and you don't want to share it to the world, but you meet somebody and you say, you know what, maybe your source tells you they probably need to hear this. Share it, because you are that light for that one person, and maybe they need to hear that at this time. We put our stories together so we could bring it out to the universe and the world together so we can impact as many people as possible. Remember, Hold My Crown, Women of Grit, share their stories of resilience, is not just about us. It's about you. We wrote our hearts out to help you in particular. Wherever you are, whatever you're going through, learn the lessons we've learned, compile them into your lives, and use them to get through your next hardship. Or if you're in it, look at our stories and say, what can I use from their lesson that I can get and use now in mine, the lesson I'm learning now? So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. Ladies, if you'd like to unmute yourselves, is there anything you'd like to add? We've been on for 51 minutes.
Wow.
Been a pleasure. It's been fun and a pleasure.
Yeah, it's been so fun. I just can't wait to be together with everyone on the 23rd at 3E's in Colorado Springs. I keep checking my airline ticket to make sure it's real.
It's real, baby. It's real.
Yeah.
It's a happening.
And if you
I
go
need
to
some
Amazon,
hugs.
if we go to Amazon people out there. If you're watching, go to Amazon, get your Kindle, look at the reviews. We have over 41 reviews now, and they're stellar. And they're from men, women from around the world. This book has great momentum. We've already
42.
changed lives. 42 now? We have changed lives. Keep going. Get up. Be the best version of you every day and be unapologetic about it. We are proof that you can make it through whatever you're going through. We'd love for you to join us live this Saturday at 3E's. But if you can't make it out to us here, we are having another book launch in March on the East Coast in the DC area. We'll let you know about that soon. And I'm just so glad all of these 11 ladies trusted me with their stories to put them together. And know that when you read these stories, you are hearing their voices. That was the direct order to the editors. Do not change their story. Do not change their wording. You can put a hyphen, you can put an apostrophe, but do not change the way they speak. Because when you meet them, you will hear them say their story in your head. And that's why I wanted us to come on live at 1 o'clock today and 4 o'clock today, because when you see them, you hear their voices, you hear their personality, and then you read their story, you will hear them and be more tightly connected to who they are and their story and how they can be with you in your journey. So if they connect with you, reach out to the author, tell us, let us know so we can connect. We are a tribe, men and women. I don't care, LGBTAQS, whatever you are, wherever you are in the world, whatever nationality, country you're from, we're here for you. We are a tribe and we are growing. Join our Facebook group, Facebook page. If you can't find it, ask me, I'll tell you. I'll put the links on this. Maybe you can find it that way. But As you read the books and write reviews, join our tribe. We're growing. If you join the group, you'll know everywhere we are, where we speak, when we're doing more book launches, when we're in your area, we'll let you know. So until then, I'm so glad we had this time together.
Just to have a laugh or sing a song.
Yes, because we are in this together, and together our stories will help others get through whatever they're going through and give hope to the world, because the world needs hope today. All of you who are watching, thank you so much for joining us on this live. Share this live stream because it'll be on replay. We'd appreciate all the help and support we can get, because this book is moving mountains. And we haven't seen Kilimanjaro yet, but we're getting there. All righty.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining us live, and we'll see you at our book launch. And hope you buy our Kindle today, because it's only today, the 24 hours of today, will you help us get to the #1 bestseller in our categories. So have a great day, everyone. Be the best version of you. Be unapologetic, and let us know what you think of our stories and our books. Have a great night, everyone, and take care. Bye-bye.
Awesome.